Okay, so today we'll be looking at the 8BitDo SN30 Pro Bluetooth gamepad. This is a retro style controller inspired by the classic Super Nintendo controller of the past. It's compatible with Nintendo Switch, Windows, Android, Mac OS, and Raspberry Pi. I believe it has the versions on the back. Yeah, right here, Switch 1.0 or above, Windows 7 or above, or Bluetooth 4.0, Android 4.0 or above, Mac OS 10.7 or above, Steam, Windows 7 or above, Mac OS 10.9 or above. So that's different. If you're using Steam, you have to be on the 10.9 version rather than the 10.7 version. And then Raspberry Pi, Bluetooth 2.0 or above. And I'll be using this with my Raspberry Pi, which I have RetroPie installed on that system. The gamepad was originally released in 2017, and it was promoted as the world's first fully featured retro controller. It boasts a full button set with clickable joysticks, rumble vibration, motion controls, wireless Bluetooth, rechargeable battery. It has a home and a screenshot button, and it has a USB-C connector with a proper D-pad. So let's open this up. Box feels good, nice and heavy, quality box. So here we have the instruction manual. It's both in English and Chinese. And it looks like the instructions tell you what the buttons are, tell you how to connect to the different systems. It has 4 different modes, we'll go over that soon. And tells you what the battery indication is, power saving, and support, which will probably be a way to upgrade the firmware. Has a little plastic case on the top for protection, which is nice. And here's the controller. Yeah, it feels heavy, feels good quality. If you look, I have the, let me move that out of the way. I have the 8BitDo gamepad for the SNES Mini, and this one's heavier, it's a little thicker, and there are some differences which we will go over in a few seconds, but basically they're close, but they're not the same. This gamepad does have dual vibration built in, as well as motion controls. It has a customized turbo function. That's only if you're using Windows, I believe, though. It can be used as both a wireless controller and a wired USB controller. So if you look here, we have the USB-C, and we have the cable here, so you can actually just plug it in, use it that way, or you can use it through wireless Bluetooth. This controller has 4 modes, has X input, D input, Mac mode, and switch mode. The controller is 104 millimeters long, 63.5 millimeters wide, and 32.5 millimeters thick, and weighs 145 grams, which is equal to roughly 5 ounces. It has a built-in 480 milliamp hour lithium battery that's at 3.7 volts, and as you can see, it is non-removable. If we look at the buttons, we have the D-pad, we have the thumbsticks here, select, start, your typical A, B, X, Y. Then we have these 2 buttons down here on the bottom. This is the home button, and this is the screenshot button. So this is more geared towards Nintendo Switch, because Nintendo Pro controllers have buttons similar to that. We also have a L1, L2, and R1, R2. If you can see here, the L2, R2 buttons are concave, so it gives you a little better grip. Like 8BitDo's other Bluetooth controllers, the SN30 Pro can connect to a variety of devices, and it's much easier to set up than it has been in the past. So before, you had to choose your mode every time you boot it into the system. Now you can choose your mode once, boot into the system, and use the control on that system and never have to do it again. The different modes are X input, D input, Mac OS, and switch. To use it as a X input, you would hold the X button and start at the same time on startup. For switch mode, you would hold the Y and start at the same time. For direct input, you would hold B and start at the same time. If you notice, let me get out this other controller. If you notice, it seems like everything is shifted up a little compared to the gamepad, the 8BitDo gamepad for SNES. The D-pad is a little higher. The buttons are a little higher. The select start is in a different location. Because they had to put in these DualShock thumbsticks here, and they added this start, home, and screenshot. So everything's pushed up just a little. On the back here, it has a USB-C, and I believe this is a pairing button. So when you're putting it into Bluetooth mode, you want to pair it with the system, you hit this button, you go into Bluetooth. So let's get this controller hooked up. Like I said, I'm going to try it with my Raspberry Pi. I'll try it with my Switch. Maybe I'll try it with my PC. Okay, before we start using the 8BitDo with the RetroPie and get it all paired up, we want to go ahead and upgrade the firmware on the 8BitDo SN30 Pro controller. So go to 8bitdo.com, go over to support, look for the SN30 Pro controller right here. They also have manuals, FAQ, update log, download. Click download, I've already done it. It'll give you this SM Pro firmware version 1.34. Once you have that open, double click on it, and you'll find this 8BitDo update version 1.1 executable. Click on that and it'll give you this window here. So it says press and hold L1, R1 and start to power on controller. LED on top will blink in red. Connect to PC via USB cable. Click USB update button and select firmware file. So let's do that. So I want to hit L1, R1 and start. Okay, so you press L1, R1 and start, and then the light on the side of the pairing button will start blinking slowly. Then you connect it to your PC, I just did. And then you see this USB update button becomes enabled, and we'll click on that. We'll pick this firmware, the SN30 Pro version 1.34. Open that. And it's going to upgrade us from 133 to 134. Click OK, and you can see the progress at the top. And there we go, firmware upgraded. Click OK, and then unplug your 8BitDo controller. Okay, so now we can connect our 8BitDo SN30 Pro to RetroPie. So you want to go into the RetroPie part of the menu, and then go into a RetroPie Setup. Alright, so let's put the 8BitDo into X input pairing mode. We'll press X and start, and then we'll use the pairing button. Press and hold until you see the lights go on. Alright, the lights are on, and now let's register and connect Bluetooth device. Okay, and the first one, 8BitDo SN30 Pro. So let's select that. So I've tried these other ones before. I haven't tried number 4, display only. It says to go through the list if it works for your controller for the security mode. I've tried 1 through 3 that didn't work. Let's try 4. And 4 worked. So as soon as I hit 4, I heard my controller vibrate. And there you go. That's how you connect it. It's fairly easy. The little hassle is finding the proper security mode. And we go back, exit. Okay, so we're not done yet. We still have to configure inputs on the controller. So grab a keyboard or grab a second controller and choose Start to bring you to the main menu. Go down to Configure Input, select that. Are you sure? Yes. And it selected, it detected 2 gamepads. Press and hold the button. And then you just have to go through and tell it what buttons you want corresponding to what it says on the screen. So I'll go through that now. Interesting, the LT, RT aren't working, so maybe I'll have to select a different input type. I'll try that later on. And for the hotkey, I usually choose R1. You can choose whatever you want and press OK. Alright, B to quit. And now I have the controller working and everything looks good. So overall, this is a really good gamepad. As you can see, it was pretty easy to set up. With RetroPie, it's a little more involved, and with Switch, it's pretty easy as well. So it's really easy to connect this this gamepad to different systems now. All right, so if you like this video, please subscribe, give me a like, leave a comment. And I appreciate you watching, so thank you.